Hey everyone, let's talk about something that, let's be honest, most of us see as a total chore: compliance. But what if it isn't just a burden? What if it's actually one of the sharpest competitive tools you have? Today, we're going to flip the script and look at how to turn compliance from a headache into your biggest advantage.
So think about it. Every single business is facing this problem. You're out there in a sea of competitors and everyone's shouting about their cool new features. But that's not enough, is it? You have to prove you're the one they can trust, the one that's reliable, the one that's secure. But how do you actually do that? Well, this number right here, it's a big deal. 61% of B2B buyers say they probably won't even talk to a vendor that doesn't have official compliance certifications. Let that sink in. Without them, you're pretty much invisible to over half of your potential customers.
And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. It's time to stop looking at compliance as just another annoying checkbox on a form. We need to start seeing it for what it is: a powerful, strategic asset. So what are we even talking about here? A compliance certification isn't you just putting on your website, "Hey, we're secure." No way. This is an official seal of approval from an independent group that has come in, torn your processes apart, and verified that you actually meet their high standards. It's proof. And you've probably seen these logos floating around, right? Things like ISO 9001 for quality control, or ISO 27001 and SOC 2 for keeping data safe. Then you have the really specific ones, like PCI DSS if you handle credit cards, or HIPAA for healthcare data. Each one is like a badge of honor for a different, critical part of your business. Okay, so let's dig into how all this builds the single most valuable thing in business today, and that's trust. In this digital age, trust isn't just handed over. It has to be earned, and more than that, it has to be proven. And the size of this trust issue is just massive. A whopping 94% of businesses say their customers will walk away if they don't think their data is protected. This isn't just a nice to have anymore, it's an absolute deal breaker.
And this is exactly where those certifications shine. They let you say this: you're not just asking people to take your word for it. You're showing them a certificate that says, hey, don't just trust us, trust the experts who put us through the ringer and said we passed. It just cuts right through all the marketing noise. So building trust is great, but what about the bottom line? How does this actually translate into revenue and growth? Well, this is where compliance really starts to feel like a superpower for your sales team. Just look at this. Nearly 60% of big enterprise buyers now demand proof of compliance just to get in the door. For a huge part of the market, having something like a SOC 2 report isn't a bonus, it's the cost of admission. Without it, you can't even play the game. And not only do you get into the game, you get to play it way faster. Companies with certifications say they close big deals about 22% faster than companies that don't. And why is that? It's simple. You get to skip weeks, maybe even months, of painful security questionnaires. The certificate does all the heavy lifting for you. So let's just break down how it works. First, you actually meet the minimum requirements to even be considered for a big deal. Second, you just breeze through the client security checks. Third, when a customer is looking at you versus a competitor, that certification makes you stand out. And finally, it opens up brand new doors, like government contracts or international markets that have really strict rules. But here's the thing a lot of people miss. This isn't just about winning customers. The whole process of getting certified actually forces you to become a stronger, better-run company from the inside out. I mean, just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got the chaos of random processes and constantly putting out fires. And on the right, that's what happens after you get certified. Everything is streamlined, consistent, and proactive. You're not just reacting to problems anymore. You've built a system to stop them from ever happening. And that proactive approach, it has a massive price tag attached to it. When a data breach hits, the cost for companies without solid compliance is, on average, a staggering 49% higher. Having that framework in place seriously cuts down on both the risk and the financial damage if something bad does happen. Okay, let's zoom out for a second and look at the really big picture. Because now we're talking about long-term value, investor confidence, and building a company that's truly built to last. You gotta remember this line. When investors or potential partners are kicking the tires on your business, they see a strong compliance program as a signal. It tells them that you're a mature, disciplined, well-run company that's ready to handle serious growth. So when you put it all together, it's pretty clear. Compliance directly builds long-term value. It makes investors more confident, which can actually raise your company's valuation.
It makes you a much safer bet for big partnerships. And, I love this phrase, it earns you the right to grow by proving you can manage it responsibly. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? This whole thing isn't an expense, it's an investment. Being proactive and building these guardrails now is so much smarter and so much cheaper than trying to clean up the mess from a lost deal, a huge fine, or a data breach that trashes your brand. Which brings us to the final question, and it's really a question for you. After seeing all this, how compliance builds trust, wins deals, makes you stronger, and attracts investment, are you still treating it like just another box to check? Or are you ready to start sharpening it into your ultimate competitive edge? The choice really is yours.